Just when you thought the Diddy case couldn't get more intense, the government pulled a move that shocked even legal experts. Out of nowhere, prosecutors dropped major allegations they swore they could prove. Now, people are asking, was this a strategy to win or a sign they're losing? Because if what just happened is what it looks like, this entire case could fall apart before the jury even votes.
After more than 7 weeks of dramatic testimony, the prosecution suddenly changed course. In a quiet letter to the judge, barely noticed by the public, they announced they're no longer pursuing some of the most serious acts tied to the racketeering charge. Attempted kidnapping? Gone. Attempted arson? Gone. And the claim that others helped enable improper conduct? Also dropped. These aren't minor details. These were the exact actions the prosecution claimed would help prove that Diddy's company was operating as a criminal enterprise. And now, they don't want the jury to even consider them? It's a move that immediately raised eyebrows in the courtroom and outside of it. Because when a case is built on stacking offenses, removing 3 of them this late, that's not just streamlining. That's a shift in strategy that screams uncertainty. Almost instantly, legal experts weighed in, and their reactions weren't subtle. Eric Faddis, a seasoned criminal defense attorney, warned that this last-minute switch could backfire in a major way. According to him, the prosecution just made it harder for the jury to convict Diddy under racketeering laws. Why? Because to prove racketeering, the jury has to link Diddy to at least 2 crimes within the so-called criminal enterprise. By cutting out attempted kidnapping, arson, and helping others commit wrongdoing, the government just limited the options.
But that's not even the worst part. Faddis said the jury might feel misled. They were told from the start that the government had solid evidence on these charges. So why remove them now? What changed? And if the jury starts to doubt the strength of those claims, what else might they start doubting? On paper, the government's reasoning seemed innocent enough. In a carefully worded letter to the judge, prosecutors said they were streamlining the case. Fewer charges, simpler instructions for the jury, that's it. But seasoned attorneys aren't buying it. Adante Pointer, a civil rights and defense lawyer, offered a blunt take. This isn't about clarity. It's about lack of evidence. In his view, prosecutors realized they couldn't meet the burden of proof on those specific acts and quietly backed off before the jury started deliberating. Think about that. After weeks of explosive testimony from former associates, insiders, even celebrities like Kid Cudi, the prosecution still didn't feel confident enough to let those claims go to a vote.
And here's where it gets even more dangerous for their case. If jurors catch on to this shift, if they sense weakness or hesitation, they may start questioning everything else the government has said, even the charges that are still on the table. As Pointer put it, this kind of move can feel like a partial surrender. And once doubt creeps in, it's hard to get rid of. Don't get it twisted. Just because a few charges are off the list doesn't mean Diddy is in the clear. What remains could still destroy his career and his freedom. The racketeering charge? Still standing. Allegations involving coercion and control? Still on the table. Transportation for improper purposes? Active. And according to the prosecution, they're still pressing forward with accusations involving forced labor, bribery, and obstruction of justice, all allegedly used to fuel Diddy's underground world of exclusive parties and secret gatherings. These aren't minor infractions. These are federal charges that carry sentences of up to 20 years each. And while the government may have dropped some theories, they're doubling down on others. They're betting that the jury will still believe Diddy orchestrated an enterprise designed to control, coerce, and exploit individuals, all under the cover of music, power, and luxury. So even without the kidnapping and arson claims, this case is still packed with enough firepower to end everything for Diddy, permanently. It's not just the charges that make this case a lightning rod. It's who's sitting in that courtroom. Sean Diddy Combs isn't just a celebrity. He's a music mogul, a billionaire, a symbol of power in hip-hop, fashion, and pop culture for nearly 3 decades. Prosecuting someone like him under racketeering laws, which were designed for dismantling mafia families, is nearly unheard of. Typically, these laws are used for drug cartels, gang syndicates, organized crime, not celebrity CEOs with Grammy Awards. But here,
The government is painting Diddy as the head of a criminal empire disguised as a music label.
And that's part of the challenge. The jury isn't just deciding whether crimes were committed. They're deciding whether a global brand was actually a front for manipulation, coercion, and abuse. Prosecutors have brought out a parade of shocking witnesses. Ex-lovers, insiders, employees. Their testimonies painted a twisted picture of hidden rooms, controlled substance use, surveillance, bribery, all designed to keep people silent and submissive. But when the defendant is a household name, jurors may hesitate. That's why every move in this case, including dropping charges, gets amplified. Every slip can shift the narrative. And right now, the prosecution is walking a razor's edge. So what does all this mean for the jury? In simple terms, they've got a slimmer charge sheet, but it's still deadly serious. Without the attempted kidnapping or arson claims, the jury now has fewer predicate acts to link back to the racketeering charge. That makes the government's job harder. They must now convince jurors that at least 2 of the remaining acts were part of a coordinated criminal enterprise. But here's the twist. Those remaining acts are heavier. We're talking full-blown coercion, forced labor, witness tampering. The prosecution will argue that these weren't isolated incidents. They were calculated, repeated, and all orchestrated by Diddy to maintain control and silence anyone who got too close to the truth. On the other side, the defense just got a gift. Fewer charges mean fewer chances for the jury to connect the dots. And with so many moving pieces already, dozens of witnesses, long testimonies, emotionally charged evidence, the defense will argue that the jury's been overwhelmed with noise, not proof. One expert said it best. The jury's task may have gotten simpler on paper, but psychologically, it's now harder. Because with fewer allegations, each one they do consider has to land, and land hard. Now, all eyes turn to the jury as they prepare to start deliberations. After weeks of explosive testimony and this unexpected change in charges, the verdict could come sooner than anyone imagined. The judge is finalizing the instructions, and the prosecution is hoping the streamlined case keeps jurors focused on the core allegations, the ones they believe are strongest. But critics argue this move could backfire, raising questions about the strength of the government's entire case. Will the jury see this as a smart legal strategy or a sign that the prosecution is losing ground? Either way, one thing is clear. The outcome won't just impact Diddy's future. It could reshape how high-profile racketeering and control-related cases are tried in the years to come. And with millions watching, every decision matters, both inside and outside the courtroom. One of the biggest celebrity trials in recent memory just took a sharp, unexpected turn. The prosecution dropped major charges, but the core accusations remain fierce. Diddy's fate now rests with a jury, weighing fewer allegations, but the stakes couldn't be higher. Will the streamlined case help the government seal a conviction, or will doubt and skepticism tip the scales in Diddy's favor? The courtroom drama isn't over, not by a long shot. What do you think? Did the prosecution's late change weaken their case, or is this just a tactical move to sharpen their focus? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest updates as this story unfolds.